So guys, there's been a new theory around town. Okay? There's a new theory. And what the new theory is about, it's about the shelter. The third code to the shelter. It's apparently, according to this guy, it's under Toriel's safekeeping. And that's very, very interesting to me. Very, 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 very interesting. He calls it OCD theory or whatever. Apparently stands for like whatever the fuck it stands for. I don't fucking know. I'm a random ass guy who likes Deltarune. What's basically about, like, apparently the shelter code is in Toriel's room or something. He brings up the point that, like, there's gotta be a person who goes to church, related to the church, has a lot of symbolism of Deltarune, who's close to the Noel and Dreamer families. It brings up that, and you know what? It does only kind of line up with Toriel. Maybe Chris, but that's unlikely. And if it was Chris, we'd never go into the shelter, because he would not let that on. So, what he doesn't talk about is the implications that brings. You know what it brings? Because, just to start with, y'all, Chapter 6, unless there's a time skip, it'll start on a Monday or Tuesday. Because the festival was either on a Sunday or Monday. If you believe the church was on a Sunday, then that means the festival skipped over school, it's Monday. Or if you believe the church happened on Saturday, then it's the festival on Sunday. It just has to be one of the two because they skip school on both of the days. So hence, Chapter 6 will be a school day if there's no major time skips. What this implies is that order of events, before school, Susie and Noel go to the castle town, Dark World. Susie has prepared it, as shown in the credit scene of Chapter 5. Okay? Then the school presentation during the school day. And then, hey now, mate, where the fuck are you going? Anyway, and then finally, after that, the Dark World is made. But do you know who works at the school? Someone, I don't know, who's like right next door. Toriel works at the school, right next door. Dark World will be in Toriel's classroom. It's the only place I can think of that everybody, in one way or another, would publicly know that Toriel is in that room during a school day. It only makes sense to me. Like, the class ends, Toriel's packing up all the stuff, then the Roaring Knight comes in, stabs the Dark World into existence, and then captures Toriel. When the Dark World is closed, the key is left behind. The key to the locked door in for Toriel's room. And that's how we find the shelter code. So, what that implies is that after the school presentation stuff, Susie, Chris, maybe even Noel, they go to Toriel's room because they're gonna hang out or something. I don't know. Maybe Susie's saying, like, maybe we could hang out at Chris's place. You know, that might be fun. Because Susie went there before. And Noel was there before that, you know. And so they go to Toriel. When Susie opens the door, or somebody opens the door, the Dark World is there. But I presume that they won't go to Castletown straight after school. I presume they'd go to Toriel first. I don't think they'd go to Castletown because Susie and Noel already went to Castletown, probably, before the school started. And then, hence, Chris got there when the school actually started for the school presentation and just for school itself. And then they go to the classroom, and they don't go to Castletown. What's noticeable about that is that the Twisted Sword route, which is implied to be a different route in between Side A and Side B, regular and Snowgrave, or just Weird Route. We're calling it Weird Route now. So hence, if this theory is true, there's a likely chance that the Twisted Sword route does not start until Chapter 7, which makes sense, to be honest, because Chapter 6 is going smoothly. There's no weird route, and I don't think there'll just be a random other route, like a big-ass route with, like, Friends Army or something. It makes sense for that to be Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is going to be a really fucking chunky chapter. And, you know, it's where everything ends. Even the weird route, which we thought would end at Chapter 5, when Chapter 3 and 4 came out. And with, like, all the evidence and stuff. Which is a very interesting implication, because we kind of thought, at the start of this, Chapter 5, right after that Chapter 6, that would just be the Twisted Sword route, because we had all the Shadow Crystals, we had the Thorn Ring if you do Abandon Snowgrave, but you just keep the Thorn Ring, and then you just make the Twisted Sword, then you use that. I just don't think they go to Castletown. They'll pull a Chapter 3. We don't get to go to Castletown for the whole chapter. So anyways, before I go for a tangent, the implications of OCD theory, or SD theory, whatever the hell that other guy called it, is crazy. Like, if the Dark World is in Toriel's classroom, maybe we need to start checking what the hell is going on in Toriel's classroom. Like, the Throne of the Gods. Maybe that's like a super secret boss or something. Which is odd. I don't know what it would give, because there's no more Shadow Crystals, probably. It wouldn't make sense for there to be more Shadow Crystals. They would do nothing. But I do think Toriel's classroom, we need to start looking at that. So, yeah. Start looking at that. Also, Twisted Sword route, probably gonna happen during Chapter 7, not Chapter 6. Don't even think about it. We're gonna go to the Castletown in Chapter 7. That's when we make the Twisted Sword. Okay, it wouldn't make sense for it to end at Chapter 6, because Chapter 6 is presumably going smoothly. Why would there be a whole ass ending during Chapter 6? Everything ends during Chapter 7. I understand that. You know, you could skip chapters and stuff, but like, you can't see the ending. So, what I'm trying to say is that if OSD theory is real, that Toriel does have the last code, then the Roaring Knight will probably try to get Toriel, like they did during Chapter 3. And, you know, the one place where she would be, it would be right after class, after all the kids left, because the Roaring Knight doesn't want anyone to know about these Dark Worlds, or is just taking out anybody who does, really, except Carol, because Carol's with the Roaring Knight, and not Susie and Chris, because why not, I guess. We don't know the intentions yet, but definitely take away any candidates who would know about the Dark World. So Toriel would be next, and, you know, once Toriel leaves, the key to Toriel's room is left behind. We enter there for some reason, we get the final shelter code. And then Chapter 7 will be shelter, and that's when the Twisted Sword route will take place, that's when the Weird route will take place. I think this theory lines up well. I'll be totally honest. I like this one. Yo. Wait, guys. I'm going to make a new intro right now. This will be at the end of all my videos. Okay, wait.